Think you know Middle-earth? Not just the movies. Not just the famous names like Frodo, Gandalf, Aragorn, and Sauron. I mean the deeper lore. The names, the hidden histories, the First Age, the Valar, the forgotten wizards, and the ancient places most casual fans never hear about. Today, we're doing 7 really hard Middle-earth questions. Keep score as you go. If you get all 7 right, you might actually be a true Tolkien lore master. Let's begin. Question 1. Sauron's original name. Before Sauron became the Dark Lord, what was his original name? A. Annatar. B. Mairon. C. Gothmog. D. Curumo. Take a second. Most fans know Sauron as the Dark Lord of Mordor, but he was not always called Sauron. The correct answer is B. Mairon. Before his fall, Sauron was originally known as Mairon. He was a Maya, a powerful spiritual being, and he was especially associated with order, skill, and craftsmanship. That makes his fall even more interesting. Sauron did not begin as a mindless monster. He started as a being who loved order and control. But that desire for order became domination, and eventually, Mairon became Sauron, one of the greatest evils in Middle-earth. Question 2. The Blue Wizards. What were the names of the 2 blue wizards in Tolkien's earlier writings? A. Alatar and Pallando. B. Mairon and Romistamo. C. Curumo and Olorin. D. Arion and Tilion. This is one of the hardest questions, because the blue wizards are barely explained in the main story. The correct answer is A. Alatar and Pallando. The blue wizards were 2 of the 5 Istari. Most people know Gandalf, Saruman, and Radagast, but there were also 2 mysterious wizards who went into the east of Middle-earth. In earlier writings, Tolkien called them Alatar and Pallando. Later writings connect them with the names Mairon and Annatar and Romistamo, which are also connected to their mission in the east. Their final fate is unclear, but one idea is that they may have worked against Sauron, far away from the lands we see in the main story. So while Gandalf was fighting in the west, the blue wizards may have been fighting a hidden war in the east. Question 3. The creator of the dwarves. Who created the dwarves before the elves awakened? A. Manwë. B. Aulë. C. Orome. D. Ulmo. This one goes way back into the creation history of Middle-earth. The correct answer is B. Aulë. Aulë was one of the Valar. He was associated with crafting, making, smithing, and the substances of the earth. He was impatient for the children of Ilúvatar to awaken, so he secretly created the dwarves. But the dwarves were not meant to awaken before the elves. When Ilúvatar confronted Aulë, Aulë was willing to destroy his own creation because he knew he had acted without permission. But Ilúvatar showed mercy. He accepted the dwarves, gave them true life, and allowed them to exist. That is why the dwarves have such a deep connection to stone, craft, endurance, and hidden halls beneath the mountains. Question 4. The First Dragon. What was the name of the first dragon bred by Morgoth? A. Smaug. B. Encalagon. C. Glaurung. D. Scatha. A lot of fans immediately think of Smaug because of The Hobbit, but Smaug was not the first dragon. The correct answer is C. Glaurung. Glaurung was the first dragon bred by Morgoth in the First Age. He was known as the Father of Dragons. Unlike Smaug, Glaurung did not have wings, but he was terrifying in other ways. He had great physical power, but also a dangerous mind. He could deceive, manipulate, and dominate people with his gaze and his words. His story is tied closely to the tragedy of Turin Turambar, one of the darkest stories in Tolkien's legendarium. So, if Smaug is the dragon most movie fans remember, Glaurung is the dragon deep lore fans never forget. Question 5. The Hidden City of Turgon. What hidden city was ruled by King Turgon? A. Nargothrond. B. Menegroth. C. Gondolin. D. Doriath. This is a First Age question. The correct answer is C. Gondolin. Gondolin was one of the greatest hidden cities of the elves. It was ruled by Turgon, a king of the Noldor. The city was hidden in a secret valley and protected from the eyes of Morgoth for a long time. Gondolin became a symbol of beauty, secrecy, and doomed greatness. But like many great places in Tolkien's world, it eventually fell. The fall of Gondolin is one of the major tragedies of the First Age. It also connects to some very important bloodlines, because through the survivors of Gondolin, the story eventually leads toward figures like Eärendil, and through him to Elrond, and even the later history of Middle-earth. Question 6. The Two Trees of Valinor. What were the Two Trees of Valinor called? A. Telperion and Laurelin. B. Nimloth and Malorn. C. Arian and Tilion. D. Vada and Yavanna. This question goes back before the sun and moon. The correct answer is A. Telperion and Laurelin. Before the sun and moon existed, the two trees gave light to Valinor. Their names were Telperion and Laurelin. Telperion gave silver light. Laurelin gave golden light. Their destruction by Morgoth and Ungoliant was one of the great disasters of the ancient world. But their light did not completely disappear. The Silmarils, made by Feanor, captured the light of the two trees. That is why the Silmarils became so important, and why so much of the First Age is shaped by war, pride, oath-breaking, and tragedy over those jewels. So this question is not just about two trees. It is about the source of some of the most important events in Tolkien's entire mythology. Question 7. Sauron's fair disguise. What name did Sauron use when he deceived the elven smiths of Eregion? A. Angmar. B. Annatar. C. Mairon. D. Amandil. This is a major Second Age question. The correct answer is B. Annatar Sauron did not always appear as a dark-armored figure. In the Second Age, he came in a fair and beautiful form and called himself Annatar, which means Lord of Gifts. Under this disguise, he deceived the elven smiths of Eregion. He offered knowledge, power, and craft. And through that deception, the rings of power were made. But Sauron's true plan was control. He created the One Ring to dominate the others. That is what makes Annatar such a dangerous version of Sauron. He did not conquer first with armies. He conquered with gifts, flattery, and false wisdom. So how many did you get right? If you got 1 or 2, you know the movies. If you got 3 or 4, you know some deeper lore. If you got 5 or 6, you're definitely a serious Tolkien fan. But if you got all 7, you might be ready to enter the deep halls of Middle-earth lore. Comment your score below, and be honest. Which question almost got you?